Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of This Week in the XFL. I'm your host, as always, the referee representing XFL Newsroom, the #1 source in XFL news. And boy, oh boy, do we have a big week, and you must be living under a rock if you haven't heard the news yet. So last week on This Week in the XFL, we spoke about the possibility that team names may be coming August 21st. And sign us up, we were correct. Now, there was some speculation back and forth. Was it going to be the Tuesday? Was it going to be the Wednesday? Well, our initial guess was correct. So we have some announcements to make. We have all 8 team identities for the XFL teams. And I know you're excited, so let's get right into it, right? So we have the DC Defenders signed up, the Dallas Renegade, the Houston Roughnecks. I'm loving it. We have the LA Wildcats, the New York Guardian, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Pretty sweet logo. And we'll talk about the logos later because we're going to rank these in at least opinion style from worst to first. But the last 2, we have the Seattle Dragons and the Tampa Bay Vipers. So earlier this week on Monday, we reported that there was a possibility that Vipers may be one of the names, and it's another one of those things that we got signed up. It was correct. It was for Tampa Bay. We didn't know which team it would be for, what the logo would be, but now we know that Vipers was one of the names. And boy, oh boy, like I said, Wednesday was a huge day for the league, for the fans, for everybody involved. There was actually a couple fan appreciation parties. There was one up in St. Louis, and there was one down in Houston that we attended as well. And actually earlier in the day, a lot of the cities had their own little media events as well, and we actually were lucky enough to attend Houston City Hall to see team president of the Houston Roughnecks. It wasn't known what the team was at the time, but now the team president of the Houston Roughnecks, Brian Michael Cooper, and the mayor of Houston, Sylvester Tuner. They were both in the house. They were both representing the XFL. They were showing their excitement. And hey, we were there. Like I said, we were covering the event. Hopefully you had a chance to watch the live stream. And we're going to show you a little bit of footage from when we had a chance to interview the mayor of Houston, Sylvester Tuner. So check it out. Shouldn't you have the XFL here in Houston?
Look, I'm real excited. You know, we've always said this is a sports town, and specifically we're a football town. And with the XFL coming to the city of Houston, especially being a part of the start of this new league, that's exciting. And just as the NFL is ending its season, the XFL will be starting its season, so we can keep it going. And I know the fans are excited. Hell, I'm personally excited. It should really be an exciting league to watch.
Well, that's excellent. Now, I know you have a lot of things to do. You're a busy man. Do you plan on coming to some of the games?
And the answer is yes.
Oh, dude, I hope so. Do you flip the coin, maybe? I hope to see you out there again. Now, I must admit, it's pretty exciting to hear the mayor of Houston excited that the team is coming. It's pretty cool to hear that he's going to be attending some of the games. Maybe all of them. Who knows? Time will tell. But this is getting real fun. Like I mentioned, we also went to the fan appreciation party later that night. And so this time, this was the first time in Houston that beyond the president, we had some of the coaching staff as well. Not only were we greeted by the team president, Brian Michael Cooper, but we had the quarterback coach, Dan Morrison, and defensive backs coach, Derrius. And I must say they were both very friendly. They answered a lot of questions, and there was a pretty decent turnout at this event. So, like I said, we had attended a few of these Q&As in the past. This was a little bit more celebratory, right? So there's a lot of fans there in anticipation of the logo, the name, all of that. They had the sweet Roughnecks logo plastered on a big banner right at the event. They were giving out some swag to everybody. And, you know, it was all around a good time. And so we actually asked the pair of coaches a good question on what they're most excited about trying out with the new rules. So we'll take a look at that right now.
Very fun.
So, of all the rule changes that you guys have been testing, this is for both of y'all, what are your favorite things to try out as we start growing the players, growing the team, and then hit the field in February?
I know what mine is. Mine is the extra point.
You get 1 for 2 yards, you get 2 for 5 yards, you get 3 for 10 yards. And that's going to be an instant decision-making process. Do you go for the 10-yard every time and say if I get it 1 out of 3 times from there, it's the same as getting it all 3 times from the 2, and throw it, try to get 2 out of 3 times, and you're already ahead of it, being down there in the 2-yard. But it's going to involve some thinking process and analytics and what mathematicians say is the best way to go on it. But my instinct is that it's going to be interesting to go for 10. I'm realizing that, and then you prepare for that. So that part of your practice is we usually go from the 14, the 9, and the 4. Those are our areas that we work on. So now there'll be an area that we're going to say, right in here, we have to bulk it up a little bit and be able to throw this thing a little more often now. I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
For me, I think a lot of rule changes are for the offense to be more productive. So from a defensive standpoint, not many of them I really like. But I think from a safety standpoint, probably the kickoff rule. I think that's a good deal. I think that's going to help keep a lot of these players safe. If you look at the NFL and college football, that's a really dangerous play. So bringing those guys closer, I think that's the rule that I like.
So as you can see, there's a little bit of a difference in opinion from offense to defense there, but to me, it makes perfect sense. While we were at the fan appreciation party, I actually had a chance to talk to Fox 26 News, so we're going to take a look at that right now as well. This is going to be the #1 football program in America. Houston is going to be the premier football destination. Look at this right here. Look at this logo, the Houston Roughnecks. We have the Oilers throwback. I know we probably shouldn't say that, but I'm signed up. So before we move into ranking the team identities, we wanted to talk about where's the swag, right? So a lot of folks were hoping and maybe praying a little bit that the XFL Shop would update on Wednesday when the new identities were announced. Well, unfortunately it wasn't, and in fact, they took the shop down. The good news is the wait isn't going to be very long at all. So right now, this episode comes out on Friday. Well, the good news is if you want to get some new XFL swag to represent your team, tomorrow's the day, August 24th. The XFL Shop is reopening with all new gear, all new merchandise. We're talking hats, we're talking shirts, probably stickers, cups, lanyards, all sorts of goodies. Don't think we're going to see the jerseys yet just because they haven't unveiled what they're going to look like. It is possible maybe we will get a generic jersey, maybe with a single color with the logos, but I don't expect that to happen. But Saturday is the big day. So the reason for this episode, the big crux, the thing that everyone's in anticipation for is what does the ref think? Where are we feeling with these logos and the names? So I'm going to start it off right here. I love all the names. I love all the logos. None of them are bad. And quite honestly, if you look back at what we had in 2001, these are miles ahead of where we were then. I know there may be some folks that disagree, but if you do like that retro gear, check out the link down in the description for 503 Sports. Check out the coupon code XFL2K. We still need to update that, but hey, you'll get 10% off your order. But again, going back to the new logos, I like them all, but you know, there has to be a best, there has to be a worst, and there has to be someone to say it. So you know what? We're gonna switch down here and take a look at what the logos are and rank them from worst to first, baby. Let's do it. So, like I mentioned, I love all the logos, but there's really two that kind of stand out to me as maybe not as strong as the rest of the group. Now, I was going back and forth on which one I would put last, and now I will say, interestingly enough, if you go to xfl.com and check out some of the team pages, you will notice some of these pages also show alternative logos. Interestingly enough, these two teams are teams that have alt logos, so I'm almost going to base it on the power of their main logo and the alternative logo. So right off the bat, and this is, again, nothing against the team, the coaching staff, or the fans. So do not get upset. Do not bring out the pitchforks. Don't set the house on fire. But we're just gonna have to start off, and we're gonna put the Tampa Bay Vipers down at number 8. Now, is it bad? No, I like the color scheme. But realistically, like I mentioned, when looking at the two alt logos, the next one to me is just a little bit stronger, But again, I have no problem with it. You know, even going back to my time in Detroit, I was a huge fan of the Detroit Vipers. It was a hockey team, but they were still fun, and I thought the name was cool then. I think the name is cool now. But the logo, I think, just leaves a little bit to desire, but not much. I still think it's a respectable logo here. So we're moving to number 7, right? So what was the battle between those alt logos? So we're gonna go here with the LA Wildcats. And again, I don't dislike the logo. I like the color scheme. I was really hoping for that black and gray to get that throwback to the Raiders there, but I can understand why they didn't go that direction. So like I mentioned, it really came down to the difference in the alternative logos, and I'm a little bit more fond of the LA Wildcats alternative logo. So now we got the first two out of the way. This is where it gets a little bit tough to me, because honestly, when I look at the rest of this list, it's pretty strong. Even those two are pretty good. It was hard choosing which one's gonna be 8, which one's gonna be 7. But you know, when push comes to shove, unfortunately, DC, beautiful city, beautiful capital, but you're gonna have to go to number 6 here. That does not mean it's a bad logo. It's just not as exciting as the rest of the ones on the list here to me. Now I know there's probably gonna be some people that are upset on this list, and as we get through the list, there's probably gonna be some other accusations one way or another, but this is just how I feel. Now, what I would love is for all of y'all to head down to the comments and let me know what you think. What's your first? What's your worst? Or hey, even better, head over to the Discord. There's a link down in the description. It's a great place to meet new XFL fans. And if you're a fan of St. Louis, I'll tell you, there's like 75% of the folks in there are St. Louis fans. And if you're not, if you're a fan of a different city, please come and join us. We need some more folks that aren't St. Louis, but we're about up to 100 folks there. And you know what? It's starting to get a little fun. If you haven't joined yet, it's unfortunate that you missed Wednesday because it was an absolute party in there. But hey, sorry to diverse. Let's get back to the real subject here. So DC number 6, I like the logo, I like the shield, I like the lightning, but it just leaves a little bit to desire. So when I'm looking at the rest of this list, there's a couple ways I could go about this, and I'll explain some of the decisions as I go through it. And quite honestly, I've been going back and forth. Who's 5? Who's 4? But you know what? New York or Seattle? New York or Seattle? You know, this is still tossing up as we speak right here. You know what? We're going to go with New York, number 5. Again, I actually really like this logo. And you know what's funny about these videos? These might change. I might change my mind here. I do like it because of its simplicity. The gray and the red is really what gets me here. It's a little hard to read the red text. But you know, a lot of this may change as we see the jersey designs. So that's another thing to think about. I don't know when they're coming. Definitely definitely by the time the draft happens. So either on the draft or shortly before the draft, but it could happen really anytime between now and then. The good news is the draft is in October at some point, so either early or mid-October. So we're about a month and a half away. We can wait. This is what everybody's been waiting for. This has come. I'm sure, you know, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I felt exhausted the day after that these names were released. Now, it wasn't just because I drove downtown twice, once to go to City Hall, once to go to the fan appreciation party, but just from the excitement and the anticipation and really just getting a chance to party with the fans online. People were loving it, not only on Discord, but on Twitter and Facebook. The fans finally got what they've been asking for. They've been begging, please give us these team names. Please show us these team logos. We need to know the identity. Well, you're signed up. And quite honestly, from what we've been hearing online so far, there's not that many people that are disappointed. And to me, that's a good sign. So we're moving to number 4 here. And this is another one. This could be a little bit of a toss-up. But we are going to go with the Seattle Dragons. And, quite the opposite of the last logo. And the only reason it's maybe even down this low is I think it might just be a little too busy. But again, these might have some alt logos. I think if they just had just the face and not so much of the neck and the body, it might stand out a little bit more. But again, some of these things might change. Like I said, especially with these alt logos, but that's mainly the reason I'm putting it at number 4. I really like the name. I was more hoping for the Surge name, but the Dragons name, the more I think about it, it is actually pretty good. It rolls off the tongue pretty well. The logo is outstanding. So again, please do not take these rankings the wrong way. I love all of these logos. I love all the names and the identities. And it really shows, like I mentioned, the work that the XFL marketing team has done compared to the last time around. That's not to disparage the folks from 2001. It's just different types of people running the show this time. We have football and sports people running the business, and that can only be a good thing. So we're moving to number 3, and I already know people are sitting there wondering, how is there 2 Texas teams? We know you're from Texas. This has to be rigged. Well, I'm sorry, it's not. And you know what? We're going to keep those 2 Texas teams on the board because we're moving the Battlehawks to number 3. Now, I was switching back and forth. Are they going to be number 3? Are they going to be number 4? And here's why they won. So some quick-eyed sleuths on the internet have noticed if you turn the Battlehawks logo upside down, it shows STL. And I think that's pretty cool. Going to the identity, I think there were a few folks online that were a little bit confused, but you got to remember the spirit of St. Louis, baby. Come on, they have a huge history in aircraft. And I think it makes sense to keep that in the name here. This is the first football team born in St. Louis. So, hey, sign up the Battlehawks. I know some St. Louis fans are going to be happy out there. Probably some disappointed that we're not at number 1. But hey, we're down to the last 2. Now I know I'm going to get some slack for this. And I know some folks on our Discord that are going to be upset by what I'm doing. But it has to be done. So we're going to go with Dallas Renegades here, number 2. I love the logo. We're going to start there. I love the logo. I love the colors. I wish we would have gotten these colors in Houston, but I understand there may be some legal problems if they had done so, right? It may be too close to that old Oilers logo, and I don't think litigation is anything that the league wants to go through. But the name Renegades, I don't know, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as much for me. I like the name, right? I like all the names. I really like the logo. But that's why you're at number 2. 2 is not bad, right? And this is all without players, so this ranking system means nothing. This is all opinion, just based on some logos that we just learned the other day, right? But the Dallas Renegades, we're putting you at number 2. And, before we get to number 1, which you already know, to me, it makes sense that the 2 best logos or identities would sit atop of this list, as Texas is by far and arguably the biggest football state in the country. Texans love football. The XFL took care of Texans in their team identities. And if you look at this Roughnecks logo, there's no denying that it's number 1. I love the fact that it is almost a throwback to that original Oilers logo, the oil derrick. I love the color scheme of red and blue. Like I had predicted, the Houston team would be using red of some sort, mainly in part because of the field where the University of Houston Cougars play. They have red end zones. And if you keep their main colors red, it makes it a lot easier to work with and a lot less expensive to change. But there's nothing to hate about this logo. It's just, it is beautiful. And I can't wait to get a hat. I can't wait to get a shirt. I can't wait to get a flag to hang outside my house and show that I am proud of our newest Houston team. And I know that there's going to be some folks online that said, come on, referee, you're being a homer here. Of course you'd pick the Houston Roughnecks. But maybe it's just me, but this is my opinion, and maybe it is a little bit of being a homer. I don't know. But I just love the way that looks. I just love the way that looks. So I hope everybody enjoyed this week's episode. Like I said, I don't expect everybody to agree. I'm hoping not everybody disagrees, but we'd love to hear from you. Let us know down in the comments below. Join the Discord or even try out our new forum at forum.xflnewsroom.com. We're trying to grow the community as much as we can. We're right around the corner from kickoff in February. Every day is getting a little bit more exciting. Like I said, we have the playbook coming, we have the draft coming, teams are going to start practicing, and then we're getting that kickoff February 8th. But hey, until then, make sure you check out xflnewsroom.com daily. We are the #1 source in XFL news for a reason, and we're the most visited website for a reason. So check it out every day for all the latest news. But hey, before I let you go, if you didn't know, we're also on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you give us a follow at XFL Newsroom. It's a much more premium handle than our old one, so I'm feeling good about that. But since we're on YouTube, make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to see when we're dropping new videos. Some are going to be live and some are going to be pre-recorded just like this one. So until next time, sign you up.